Los Angeles, California has the third biggest homeless population in the United States. And today it's my job to make sure there's one less hungry person on the streets. Hey, excuse me, sir. Hey, I was wondering, are you hungry by any chance, man? All right, man, I got you. Would you like a Baconator, fries, a drink? Is that cool? All right, what's your name, man? Israel. God bless you, Israel. I got you. I'll be right back, man. Get one Baconator combo, please. Yeah, what's up, bro? Yeah, man, I got you a Sprite, large fry, you a Baconator, man. I was homeless myself, so I want to make sure you get on the right path. You're always able to, get back on your feet. So I want you to enjoy this. This is really good. All right, take care. Have a nice day.
So I'm going to start this episode. First and foremost, I'm going to do my normal greeting. What's going on, everybody? It's your host, the Crypto Wonder. Hope you're doing well. Now, this is going to be different than most of the videos I've done within the recent past. This episode is going to be different because I don't know if it's made a mistake. Well, probably, yeah. I made the mistake of going on the internet and seeing something that I cannot unsee, right? And it was regarding a YouTuber who decided to prank a homeless person by making them believe that they were going to buy the homeless person some food, bought the food, brought it to the homeless person, and ate the food in front of the homeless person, right? Now, in the day and age of clout chasing, this whole thing with social media where you have individuals who will do anything and everything for attention, whether it's whatever they talk about, from whatever they're talking about online to whatever they're doing. People do anything and everything for attention. But when I saw this video, I was more than mortified. Like this whole thing was in such poor taste. Who raised these like, you have people, and it's not just this one guy, this YouTuber who does this, I'm not sure I can blame the entire generation. These kids are younger than I am in my generation. But I'm not sure if I could entirely blame them because they came from us, the older generation, and we came from our predecessors. And this is just a continuation of just this broken, dysfunctional thought patterns that turn into actions, that turn into behavior, that turns into these weird ideologies that create completely broken systems. How in the world can you think that telling a homeless person that you're going to buy them food, go buy the food, show them the food, hand it to them, and then take it back or take it away from them, eat the food and talk with them, and then ultimately walk away and not give them anything? Like, the person apparently, they say, was getting high, right? Because you could see him, he's smoking, he's sitting down behind some kind of dumpster or whatever, getting high, That's neither here or there. Who cares? You offer the person, you ask the person, do you want it? Are you hungry? Would you like something to eat? They said yes. He said yes. And then you tell them, okay, you'll be right back. You come right back with some food, show them the food, and you consume it and then walk away. Like what type of disgraceful BS is that? That's a joke? That's funny? So somewhere down the line, I blame the older generation. I blame us for the behaviors of these young people. Right? Because somewhere down the line, they thought doing this was cool. They thought somebody in my age group or older must have done something to appeal to this man and think that it was okay to pretend like you're going to buy somebody food who's down and out, who's less fortunate, who's on the street behind a garbage can getting high in some kind of freaking parking lot somewhere next to a restaurant outside. Show them the food and then eat it and act like it's good, like that's okay. I don't understand, like, and this is the future, you know? This clip will get millions of views in no time, or much more views. It's much more, people find this humorous. Many don't, because I've seen the comments in different platforms already, seeing this thing circulate. But when you're talking about other issues that might not be as maybe just comedic or tragically comedic, not as juicy or right? It's not about gossip, some disparaging information, some slanderous type of talk taking place. Folks won't care if you're talking to them about uprooting their financial well-being by educating themselves in places where they need to, in places where people are becoming rich. They don't care about that. And I'm not your financial advisor. They rather do things like watch and, wow. I mean, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words. People automatically jump on the race bandwagon. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'm a black man critiquing what this black kid did to another black man. So what? Well, what are you talking to me about? This BS. You know what I'm saying? For those who have that type of, you can't be so hard or whatever rhetoric, and folks they spin it and flip it and bounce it. The kid decided to do a video outside of Wendy's and go walk up to somebody who seemingly was getting high, interrupted the person's process of getting high, to then tease him or lie to him about buying some food, buys the food, or asks him if he's hungry. Like, you can't, the guy put his head down looking at him. And sure, you saw some clips. I don't know if it was a skit, right? I don't know if people were just like, if they were just, if they were friends, they knew. It didn't look that way. It didn't look like they knew each other and they were people. Like, they were familiar with each other at all. At all. That skit talking about it's a skit, it's because it's like you just can't believe what you're seeing, right? I'm taking a spoon of cognitive dissonance. I said, oh no, that couldn't be real. They were just acting. No, I don't think it was acting. And you know why it touches me a lot too? It touches me a lot is because, like, I know people who have gone through this, very, very close, dear, and near to me. And this is part of what I do for a living as well, because I work with mentally ill adults. You're already can understand, if you really understand what I'm saying, that the likelihood of the mentally ill population being homeless is very high. Okay? Extremely high. In some cases, they correlate homelessness with mental illness. So I'm offended by the foolishness, by what I just saw. That's why I'm talking about this. That's why I'm creating this content, to basically push back and tell this young person that that wasn't funny. That's not an appropriate message that you're sharing with the world, much less your peers. When you get older, should you be fortunate enough to see many, 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 many years from now, how will you feel if you look back, right, at this video, this prank you did? How would you feel about yourself? If you even care. You probably don't even care, because if you really cared, why would you do something like that? That could be your relative, right? That could be you. That could be anybody. And then to laugh at someone else's misfortune? Folks, you already know when I do my content, especially when I go live, it's just completely, none of my stuff is scripted. None of it. None of what I talk about is scripted. And when I go live and I talk about cryptocurrency, I start to connect certain aspects of life that relate to crypto, or that relate to our certain conditions that people live under. Because I'm not going to say ours, like I know everyone that listens to me and I know your conditions, because I very well don't. I only know mine. I'm familiar with my conditions. But and when I speak about certain things, I sort of get the sense that people can understand what I'm talking about more than me. It's not just me. Okay? I could get the sense that people can sort of relate to what I'm saying, because I like to believe that some of the things I'm saying might appeal to more than just me. Certain conditions and reality and situations and circumstances, etc., right? Real life stuff, though. And everything is not potpourri, even though I do understand and appreciate life and all the wonderful things that it has to offer. The beauty, everything great. The luster, everything that gives life meaning, right? I don't forget the opposite. I don't forget for a second how things can change and have an adverse impact on how we live. I don't, because I've learned from my experiences to take nothing for granted. And this kid right here, I don't know who's taught him. He probably has had role models in his life. I don't know. And if he's had, that makes it worse. If he's had role models, that makes it worse for him to carry on and do what he's doing here. That thing hurt. It touched me. Okay? You have people that don't know how to not be homeless. Believe it or not, folks. It's not just about, oh, you know, what's wrong with you? Get up, go get a job, right? It's not that easy for some people, believe it or not, folks. It's not as easy as you'd like to think. Oh, you getting high? Why don't you just knock it off? Go get yourself clean. Stop committing crimes, right? Stop living on the street. Just stop. You think it's that easy? If it was that easy, then we wouldn't have to deal with homelessness. If it was just as easy as somebody just deciding, okay, you know what? They're not going to live on a sidewalk anymore, on a train, in a train station, in a park bench, next to some type of secluded area or whatever. Outside, where they're vulnerable and exposed to everything and anything. If it was that easy for them to stop, they would. And the reality is, too, the systems that are in place, right, to address homelessness issues, right, to curb the homelessness recidivism, and you know, to create more housing to reduce these problems. Because one thing is tied to many other things. Homelessness didn't just occur overnight. There are other factors involved, right? So you have certain systems that have been put in place to address it and to reduce the chances of people living on the street. And in some cases, for example, people rather, instead of living in shelters, they rather live on the street. And I've also met individuals who commit certain petty crimes, seasonal, right? When it gets cold, oh, they got this random brick, throw it through a car, boom, go do 6 months at Rikers Island. They're guaranteed 3 hots in a cot. They're guaranteed free medical care, dental. They're guaranteed a place to stay, to avoid the elements, to avoid the wintertime. That's their plan. Have been doing it for decades. You and I don't really understand that. Only those who have been through it can understand it. I'm not here to judge them. And I'm certainly not going to laugh and applaud an ignorant content creator who decided to put a reprehensible clip of himself on social media, on the internet, degrading, humiliating a man who was down on his luck. You see that man sitting down, you see him there, you can't tell me he's living a stable life. Sorry. They say, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover, but when I'm watching him have a pipe in his hand and he's blowing smoke out his nose, when you walk up on him, it's not a cigarette that he was smoking. It's not a hookah pipe that he was smoking. Not a cigar. So what are we talking about? Behind a dumpster? Or some random remote thing behind a restaurant or whatever in a parking lot? Like nondescript area? What are we talking about? On the street? By himself? And be asked if he's hungry? Do you think that's a person who's doing well? Who's stable? Who got it together? No. No, not at all. And to humiliate him and create a funny, morbidly gross situation, like this thing was just reprehensible, unconscionable, disgusting. The f is wrong with these people, man? Who raised these people? Who's raising these kids, man? Who's raising these kids? That kid could not have been more than 20 years old. And this is what he's doing with himself and his time? And what a fool. It would, I guess affect his viewership less if he showed that it was a prank and that he actually did bring food after he displayed that disgusting act that he did to the man. Go back and really buy the man some food and bring it to him and let the people know it was a prank, yada yada yada. But they decide to cut that short. They didn't show anything more, so it leaves you to believe that was the tragic joke. And if he had walked up to the wrong person, if that kid walked up to a different person, a different type of individual, who wouldn't stand for that type of disrespect, because that's what it was, absolute disrespect. The man is in such a subjugated position, living in abject squalor at the moment. You caught him you didn't catch him at the finest point in his life. Far from. And you would have did that to the right one and got your teeth punched out of your mouth, out of your head. Teeth knocked out, like seriously, like, you kidding me? Because not everyone in the streets that are homeless won't respond like that guy. Trust and believe. Streets are cold, rough, rugged, and raw and heartless. Dangerous for a reason. So he was lucky. That's not even the point. The point is that act, that message, it shows us that we have much more work to do, just in a sense where much more, man, I don't even know. And when I say we, hey, I don't know. What are we doing, right? I just say it's a generalized. I'm thinking to myself, sometimes I think about how bright the future is, and then when I see things like that, I'm like, wow, there's so much work that needs to be done still. And I'm going to close it out with saying this. A lot of times, sometimes, like, I go through my moments where I ebb and flow, right? One moment I'm like one way, another moment I'm another way, in a sense where, as far as crypto is concerned, I like to frame things in my mind in a certain way. I wish that more people knew what we knew about crypto so that they could get involved and position themselves properly for the next cycle. Not just the next cycle, but the next multitude of cycles for the rest of our days, right? But clearly, there are people who are going to miss out. And it's not to any fault of ours. It's not. Not everyone is going to be able to succeed, unfortunately, in other ways. But in terms of this crypto, this DeFi thing that I talk about all the time, right? Nah, not everybody's gonna be able to experience the great things that DeFi has to offer. We're taking a lot of risks because the rewards are gonna be that much better, that much sweeter, that much greater. High risk, high reward. And there are folks who are going to miss it. They are. They're going to miss it. And I would really hope that messages like this could touch young people, right? Could reach young people who can see the difference between being a bona fide idiot and the difference between being a fool, a clown, and being somebody who's serious, being somebody who's really trying to learn how to take charge of their own lives in such a proper way to build a foundation, right? Build a foundation so that they could carry on through life, navigate through this weird, mysterious maze, this wilderness called life, with the proper skills, the proper tools, knowledge, and intelligence that they would need to do exceptionally well. And if they acquire and study the proper information that crypto has in store for everyone, that's a great start. But it's not going to reach everybody. It's just not. Life just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. I wish, these crypto things that we talking about, I wish they were somewhat like the sunlight, where the rays of the information of crypto can touch anyone and everyone when it's available and high up in the sky during the day. But this is why I always err to the side of caution and believe in a higher power, because I'm a man who believes in certain principles. Not that I'm better than anybody, but I know I believe in a creator. And certain things are always going to outdo and be greater than money. It's just that money helps. And a lot of people are going to be left behind. I wish, like I said, that this information could touch everybody when they want it, when they need it, when they, but no. You're going to have folks that are just going to be not only left behind, but lost in the sauce. And in a weird way, that's how you differentiate those who succeed from those who don't. So you'll know the difference. Just like good and bad. If it wasn't for anything bad going on, you wouldn't know what good is, right? You need the opposite, the polar opposite, to understand each other, because they work in tandem. There's a balance, though. You got to keep a balance. And I wish more young people were to take themselves a little bit more seriously, while they enjoy life, of course, but take things a little bit more seriously. Because, when we look back, I'm a man of a certain age, so when I look back, I look at things and I'm like, wow, when I was their age, I was doing X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. It's not like things I would have done differently. It's just that perhaps opportunities that arose, anything you decide allows you to go to different roads. So whatever you decide to do leads you to different paths. But I'm fortunate enough to say that I took advantage of quality leadership that I had in my life, thankfully. But I also made my own fundamental mistakes too. But one thing I always learned is to never humiliate, degrade anyone who's misfortunate, anyone who's going through hard times, anyone who's down on their luck, anyone who's just sick, infirm, developmentally delayed, who's just struggling through life. Because not only do we all have a story, but everything and anything can change in an instant. So be grateful, right, for everything we have, even though sometimes we forget and we think that we deserve and want more. We have more than many will ever have, all the time. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, people. There's a lot of crazy stuff out here. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on out here. Just be aware. Take care.